Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. As you can tell by the title below, I'm going to be giving just a couple tips that I found has been the most helpful while finding and seeking a godly man. So these tips are not necessarily towards me anymore because I'm happily married almost 10 years now, and I just still hold steadfast to these rules and sort of principles, or just something to always keep in mind when we're finding the perfect guy. And when I say perfect guy, that means of course that's someone who's perfect for you, but we have to make sure all of those elements within that man are focused on something higher than ourselves. So let's get into these tips now. So trying to find a godly man in a godless world, it's not that too far-fetched, okay? Yes, we live in a day and age where marriage and relationships aren't valued as much. We live in a society where sex and, having babies and just having basically random relationships is the new normal nowadays, unfortunately. But there is still a lot of us out here who understand the truth, who are good Christians, who deserve a good man or a good woman in their lives, and we just have to make sure we're doing that part when we're seeking or waiting for that godly man. So first and foremost, you have to be a godly woman yourself. Okay, I know that sounds a little obvious, that sounds a little self-explanatory, but honestly, you have to take a second to look at yourself, take a second to look in the mirror to realize, to really think, okay, am I attracting the man that I want? Am I being the woman that this man is going to need, is going to love? Are you doing things that are aligned with the word, your day-to-day thing? Are you faithful? Are you being modest? Sowing seeds in the form of helping others? Are you giving back? Are you being obedient? Are you spiritually ready to handle a godly man? Because I'm going to tell you now, that comes with a lot of levels that a godly woman should understand, and we can touch on that maybe in another video. Do you love yourself? Are you a caring person? Are you overall just kind? Because I can tell you right now, the bad attitudes and the potty mouths and the going off and snapping and just being disrespectful, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not what a godly man wants or needs, and that's in the Bible itself. So you have to make sure you are being the woman that you want to attract in a man. Are you being modest? I go back to that. Again, we live in a day in a society where everything is sexualized, everything, having your boobs out and having, your tits and your ass out is normal. Excuse my language. That's it's normal, and it's that's what we think, that's what real men are looking for. But I can tell you now, that's not what a real man wants. No real man wants their woman or their future woman goods and services all on the internet, all on social media, all just out at the grocery store, because it says in the Bible about a woman being modest and a woman being covered up and a woman being respectful. Are we living in this godless world today? Are we still holding on to that modesty that God has always wanted to instill in us as women? So that's something to think about, because we're not going to find him at the club. We're not going to find him at the bars, drunk all on the floor. We're not going to attract a godly man that way. And honestly, I don't think he's looking for that either. So that's something to really think about, okay? Be vigilant of wolves in sheep's clothing. I know a lot of us have maybe gotten ourselves in trouble when we've met someone, or we thought, he was Mr. Right. He had all the elements. He had all the swag. He had all the, the right words to say. But are we being vigilant? Are we taking enough time to be vigilant of the type of man that he could possibly be? And I'm so serious when I say this, because when I say wolves in sheep clothing, we know the devil is alive and well. We know he's here to kill, steal, and destroy. We have to stop forgetting that the devil is here to deceive us. That's his job. And unfortunately, we live in a world where he has followers and he has people who are on his side, and fighting for him. Then they're fighting for Jesus, and and it's sad, but that's why we have good and bad. It's our job to be vigilant and to use discernment when we're looking for a godly man. Too many times, we can end up in a relationship that's not meant to be, only if we took a little more time to get to know the person, only if we paid a little more attention to the words and their mannerisms and their nuances and how they come off. Because you have to realize, when you're meeting somebody, of course we all put on a little front, we all put on a little cover up, and everything's not revealed right away. And I'll look at it like this: if, say, you're having a conversation, you just met someone, you're having a conversation, if his language or if his dialogue has nothing to even do with the words God, Jesus, love, blessed, if that's not even part of his vocabulary, girl, run. Because you got to understand, it's so scary to even talk to someone who doesn't even acknowledge the word. Do you know how dangerous of a person that is, honestly? And so many times we have a lot of those people around us and in our space that we're not using discernment anymore. We just think, okay, it's normal, but not really realizing that the people around us is who we become. It's who we act like the most. It's who we associate ourselves with the most. And I'll touch on that in another video. But the devil is alive and well, and he's here to hurt us. Yes, he'll send a Mr. Right, tall, figures and everything, loving, handsome. But how is his soul? How is his mindset? How is his heart? How does he treat others? How does he treat his family? How does he treat his neighbors? All this stuff takes time to be revealed, and only if we stop rushing into things and give it that time, it'll reveal itself. Because the devil can only deceive for so long before God reveals the truth. So on to the next one. I know a lot of us might take a little bit of offense to this, but it's in the Bible, so it's truth, it's just, and I really feel like it makes a lot of sense. And that is, he is not the godly man for you if he is still depending on his family or his parents for assistance. No, where do we do that at? No. It says in the Bible, and I got it down here, but if any man does not provide his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So basically, he's denying the faith. Basically, he's not using what God has given him. He's not using the muscles and the strength that God has given him to provide for not only himself but for his family. We're equipped with the strength already to work and make it happen. And for a man to not make a way for himself, that's not good. That's not a good thing at all. Like I said, I know a lot of us will get mad about this, but there's a lot of women out here who's taking care of these grown ass men. And yes, taking care, feeding, bathing, washing, cleaning after but my man's just sitting there up in the house with no job, not working, not helping, being attentive to the kids. Nothing. And I see it over and over and over, and it's so unfortunate because a man of God knows the importance of laboring and providing. They know the importance of working for the things that you need, especially if you have a family or planning on having a family. A man of God already knows that. They're there's no, you don't have to coach him, you don't have to remind him. It's instilled in his heart, just like the word of God. And that's the type of man that we're looking for, right? If he's dependent on his family, his brother, I don't care if it's phone bill, rent, Netflix. If you use his mama Netflix account, I don't care. You have to look at those things for what it is. And that ultimately just shows the type of man that it really is. And I know we're going through COVID and, we're in a tough time. I'm not talking about that yet. Call your mama for a pack of tissue or something. I'm not talking about that. To be dependent on the assistance of, of parents is not That's not the deal. That's like the #1 rule in like manhood, isn't it? Like providing and working. Like, how can you be attracted to a man, or how can you accept a grown-ass man being in your house, most likely, in your car, most likely, eating your food, most likely? Oh, the point is, a biblical marriage requires the birth of a separate union. It requires a shift of a conjoinment of a separate union away from mommy and daddy. Period. Point blank. Drop the mic. Like, which brings me to my next tip. You are not Captain Save a Dude. Okay? And you know the word I really want to say. But no. You are not, we are not saving these dudes in 2020. No. Like, that is not our job. Have you ever heard the saying, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife? That goes the same for these dudes out here. You can't turn a drug dealer. You can't turn a killer. You can't turn a robber and these thugs and these, you know, lost boys. You can't turn them into a husband or a God-fearing husband. For one, a man's supposed to be head of the household, so how can a woman change a man into being better? I'm not saying like you can't, you know, uplift a man or praise a man. That's not what I'm saying. You can't baby him or mother him into a wife or to staying around or into being a man. You can't force him to do that, okay? That's not our job. But what is our job as a Christian is to pray for him and to recommend the closest church. That's what we can do. Ladies, we have to stop thinking, okay, he got a little potential. I'm falling in love with the potential of a man. I'm not saying a man can't change. I'm saying you can't change him, and it's not your job to change him. As a man, he should already show up strong and positive and fearless and reliable. As a man, he should already show up as such. And we shouldn't have to nurse a man, especially if he's not our husband or anything like already. You know, you get what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not our job, okay? But it is our job as Christians to point him and to recommend the closest church or shrink for him, okay? It is not okay to devalue or compromise your faith or your beliefs on somebody who won't even acknowledge the word of God, let alone live or abide by his word. Like, that's so absurd. That's so absurd to me. It is not okay to be with somebody who you know has no willingness to change or to seek something better or see something higher than him. That's not okay to be in a relationship like that. First of all, it's not good for your heart. It's not good for the, you know, the kids if you have children and you bring in somebody like that around who's dangerous or who's, you know, just not God-fearing at all. Like, that is a dangerous person to me. Ooh, that's scary, y'all. And we have to stop playing with our faith. We have to stop playing with the word, because the word is just and the word is here for a reason. Because it's more likely for his influence to cause you to stumble into ungodly territory. Like, if your faith isn't like intact, if your faith isn't strong enough, it's most likely that the bad influence will take over and cause you to you know, fall into that trap. And like I said earlier, you are who you hang around with. You are who you let yourself be around. That's just like nature. It's like adaptability. Like, it's just in us. Like, we adapt to our surroundings, and you have to really ask yourself, is this who you want to adapt to? Is this someone you want to be like? Someone you want your kids to model after? Like, we have to look at the whole picture for what it is. But don't let someone like that come in and stop what you worked so hard for, that you've protected your heart from. Don't let someone come in that easily and just take that away from you, because the devil only needs a little bit of slip. He just needs a little bit of room, and he will send a whole flock to see just like how naive like you really are. And yes, this world is just full of tests, but it's possible to pass them, because we have all the answers that we need in this Bible. We have every answer that we can possibly need. So don't fret. Be the woman who seeks God's kingdom above all else, no matter who's hurt you, no matter where you've come from, no matter, always seek God first. And you can never be led wrong. You can never be steered wrong. But when you follow in the world and following the people on this earth, you're headed right for destruction, okay? And last but not least, just be patient. You have to pray and be patient. Pray diligently and be patient. Like, we should all know that God is not in the business of rushing. He's not on our time. We're on His time. And how can we be mad at that? How can we question that when we know He wants us to have the very best? I know that there's someone out there for me who I'm a part of, literally from His rib. That man is out there, and we can't keep blocking our blessings. We can't keep blocking our chances because we want to be in a relationship, or we're so quick to be loved by somebody. You're not gonna get love from these bums out here. I'm gonna tell you that now. So it's just so important to be patient and to pray. We all know that rushing all got us nowhere fast. What is the point of rushing, especially when it comes to our heart, our lives, our souls, and our spirits? It's so much more to it, and good things come for those who wait and pray. Not only that, it's important on how we act while we're waiting. So we're waiting for our godly man, and we think he's on the way, but we're not doing things that's aligned with his arrival. We're partying every weekend. We're not doing the things that we need to do in that time of waiting to attract that man. So, and we can't be rushful. We can't be, doing what we want to do on the side. And, I'm just waiting on God, but I'm still, have this relationship, on the side, and still not learn my lesson. Because guess what? This is a test. And God knows He has good men on this earth. He created them. He has shepherds, and He has hard workers and great leaders who's looking for just a wonderful wife to lead and protect and to provide for. But we have to do our part, because this is a test. And God has a funny way of letting us keep retaking that same test. They make you retake a test in school, but they'll switch up the numbers, or they'll switch up the problem for the numbers, but it's still the same test. Yes, God will test us in every form. He will keep giving us the same test, different guy, different day, different area, or where different place you met him. Like, He's going to make us keep taking that same test until we use our discernment the right way, the discernment that He has gifted us with in the right way. I think once we pass that test and we're like, okay, nope, that's not the one. Nope, I'm waiting on God. Nope, God said my man ain't gonna do that, or he not gonna act like that. No, no, you have to use that gift that God has given us. And that's all I'm trying to say, ladies. In the end, we just have to look at it as having high standards. And I guess that'll be another tip. When we know we're doing our part, we're being a godly woman, we're waiting, we're working, we're being patient, we're reading our word, we're helping others. Now it's our time. We have that decision to pick who we want to love and, give our hearts and our lives to. But now it's the time to have high standards. He wants us to have the very best, the absolute best, and that don't come overnight. I'm sorry, he doesn't come overnight. Set reasonable standards, okay? I'm not talking about 6'3" and 8 figures and 10 inches. Like, no, I'm not talking about that. Seek the soul first, the mind first. And I'm telling you, God gonna bless you with all of that that matters to us, okay? He's going to take care of all of that, all right? But we have to make sure He's seeking God first. Make sure He's putting God first above all else. And these are the type of men that we need right now in this day and age. And yes, they exist. Yes, they're still around. We serve a high and mighty God. And there's a lot of us out there. There's a lot of men out there who serve and dedicate Him first and foremost. And all they need is just a woman and a wife to share that with. And Guys, take these steps into consideration, put them to good use, and yeah, your Mr. Right, your godly man will be on the way, and we can be that love that we need in this godless world today. Alright guys, that's all I have for this video. I'm thinking of calling this segment spiritual aspect, just giving like sort of my views and thoughts on different topics and how I try to stay faithful in this faithless world. I mean, just period. So if you're interested in more videos like this, just let me know. Give me a big old thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye.